Hey everybody, so it's late at night. It's
Yes.
like 11 o'clock and we just got done with a 10.5-hour day at the hospital probably. I think 10.5 hours. So excuse us if we look like poop. We don't care. So we've been delaying doing this video because it's been hard to try to figure out everything that we're going to talk about and how to update people and how to talk about it without blowing my face off.
Yeah.
So for some reason, I'm somewhat stable right now. So I said, Derek, let's just hurry and do it. So the last video that we gave you was our birth announcement video, and at that point, I think we told you that Truman was doing well and that he was on a ventilator? Or did we say he was off the ventilator?
I think we said he was on the ventilator.
You said it was like he was down to like 42% oxygen or something, and that was on the ventilator?
I think so.
Okay, so anyways, at that point, he was on the ventilator, but after 12 hours after being born, they took him off the ventilator and put him on what's called an NIPPV, which is a non-invasive pressure something of the other. You can look it up. But it's basically him breathing on his own. Praise the Lord. He breathes on his own, but it just allows extra support. So it gives him extra pressure.
It gives him some breaths, a little bit of breath.
Yeah, it gives him extra breaths. And it gives him more air pressure going in. So he's actually using his lungs and he's breathing, but it's giving him extra support because even though when he was born, his lungs were working, he still is a 30-week baby. So his lungs aren't as developed as they need to be, which is normal for any preemie. But we will say that it's pretty incredible because everything that the doctors said about his lungs were absolutely false.
That's right.
Is exactly what we were declaring and praying for the whole time, and knew that God was going to show off because God was sustaining him the whole time, and he still is. And his lungs, the doctors were like, well, we're pretty shocked because after that long without you having any fluid in your womb, we surely thought he was just not going to have his lungs develop at all, but they look great. And we're like, yeah, we know.
Yep.
So his lungs have looked great. He's obviously on the NIPPV. It's not like he's on room air or something, but as a preemie baby, less than 3 pounds, we're okay with that. He's not on a ventilator. We're extremely happy about that.
Yes.
So as far as that's his lung development, when he was born, they initially had a couple like IVs going through his umbilical like vein and artery, and that was giving his extra proteins and lipids, like extra things that he wasn't getting because he wasn't able to have food. Like he started off with 1 milliliter of food, and then every day since he's been increasing. So for the first like 3 days of his life, he had the 3 or 4 days of his life, he had the
like 4 days
things within his umbilical cord, and that's why we couldn't hold him because they're such sensitive veins that they didn't want to accidentally pull it out, and that could be really detrimental to him. So they had that in until they took those out, and then at that point they were able to put in what's called a PICC line, a PICC line, and that is basically just like an adult IV line. They put it through his arm, and except it was a lot longer, and invasive. We actually had to sign off on it that he could get it, and that was giving him his IV
his nutrients and all of that.
And then he was increasing his milliliters of he's actually getting my breast milk. I think only for like probably the first 24 to 36 hours he got donor breast milk, because I was producing but like drops. But then once I was able to produce enough, I mean, he was only getting like 1, 2, 3 milliliters of breast milk. I was producing that at that point. So he was able to get that plus the IV. He's been since day one getting his food through a tube that goes through his mouth and down into his stomach. That's not changed so far, and that won't change until he's off the NIPPV. oxygen and change to a CPAP, and then at that point they can put him on nasal feedings, and then they'll be able to take that tube out of his mouth. But so far he's just increased every 12 hours his milliliters of breast milk, and now I think he's up to,
he's at 23 tonight.
23 milliliters, and they feed him every 3 hours.
Yeah.
So he's getting that, and he's doing awesome with it.
Yeah.
He's peeing and pooping normally. His GI system is working awesome, so we're very thankful about that.
Yes.
After his feedings have increased enough, I think it was probably like, what, 19 milliliters or 20 milliliters of milk, they finally said he was getting enough nutrients from my milk and gaining enough weight to where they could take that PICC line out. So they've already taken that PICC line out. It's been almost a week.
It's been about a week, yeah.
Since they took that PICC line out. So now he doesn't have to get any more IVs. This is the progression that has taken place while we've been in the NICU. There's a lot of stuff that has happened, and every single day things are changing. So they took that PICC line out. He doesn't have to get any more IVs. What he does get, though, is he still gets the breast milk, but now they've added a fortifier to my breast milk, so he's getting extra calories.
Yeah.
So that it can help him gain additional weight.
Right.
And they've also added, I think, recently they've added a calcium supplement, and then I think like a multivitamin to his tube that goes through his stomach right before feedings, every like 6 or 12 hours or something like that, just to give him some extra nutrients. He was low on his calcium, and so they needed to do that just to increase that. So that was lungs, feeding, IV. What else is other questions that people have about his development and the wires? Like, what other wires does he have on him?
He did have a wire that was checking his body temperature constantly, but that's been taken off too for a little over a week.
Yeah.
So now he just has some different sensors to do, like his heart rate, his oxygen saturation is a big one too.
Oh, yeah, they have to figure that out. They need to know like
those are the only things that are on there. It's those, and then the NIPPV.
Yeah, and the machine that does the oxygen. What did you just say?
The NIPPV.
No, the machine that the respiratory people always have to come in and take off of him.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
one
it's
part
checking
on
his carbon dioxide level.
Yeah, there's one little like tiny little thing that attaches to like a little port, but they have a sticker on his body, and I guess the machine's like, it's super sensitive and very, very expensive, and the only people that can touch it is the respiratory team.
Yeah.
So every time we get him out to hold him or whatever, they have to come in and take it off. Like, the nurses can't touch it.
Yeah.
But that measures his carbon dioxide, what he's giving out. So they've had to adjust like his oxygen pressure and how much breath he's getting based upon if he's getting enough carbon dioxide out of his body.
Right.
And that was initially a concern. He wasn't getting enough carbon dioxide out of his body, so they had to increase his PIP or his pressure. Was it PIP or PEEP?
His respiratory rate was the one for
There's
that.
so many like terminologies and things that we're learning.
Yeah. We learn new stuff all the time.
Yep, and so they increased that at first, but they just recently took that back down because his carbon dioxide levels were looking awesome. So that's that. They, for the first like 2 weeks of his life, especially because he was a micro preemie, his skin wasn't like thick enough.
Yeah.
So it's just like more developing that needed to happen with his skin, and so they had humidity in his incubator, and that was pretty high. It was like a jungle in his incubator. It was so hot.
You would feel really
and, like,
sticky
humid.
from being in there.
Yeah, and they just recently, over the last like 3 days, they slowly started to wean that humidity off of him in the incubator, and so now they, just as of today, I think the humidity is 100% off of his incubator. So life in the NICU is crazy. Like, there's like so many good things that happen because you know, the humidity gets taken off and the PICC line gets taken out. Like, all these things happen, but then at the same time, like, different like low points happen during the day. So it's like, one minute you're like, yay Truman, and the next minute you're like, come on Truman. And they're like, yay Truman, come on Truman. And so it's just like an emotional roller coaster. I think the more we get used to being in there and seeing things that he goes through, it gets a little bit easier, maybe for him, not so much for me, because I get like really worked up and worried. One of the main things that has started to happen, he kind of went through what they call a honeymoon phase in the NICU, which means that he just does really, really well. They say sometimes it lasts like 3 days, sometimes it lasts 5, and then others it lasts a week. For him, it lasted like a week. And nobody like told us this. We're like, dude, he's doing freaking awesome. Like, we're gonna be taking him home like in 2 weeks, shoot.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, honestly, it could be way worse.
Oh yeah.
Perspective. It could be way worse. We've heard stories, met other parents where it's been way worse. So I try to be grateful and thankful, but it is very hard when you a lot of what they call episodes or alarms going off. They have his heart rate hooked up, and up on a monitor, his heart rate, his how much oxygen he's getting in his blood, and then how many breaths he's taking a minute. They have that on a machine. And so all day long, we can look up and see where his heart rate is and where his oxygen levels are. And he likes to forget to breathe.
Yeah.
Because he's an immature baby and his brain is not yet telling his lungs all the time to breathe.
Right.
So he'll have episodes like that, or like if he grunts or if he's pooping or something like that. It's just, he's just so immature right now that he forgets to breathe, or his heart rate goes down, and they call that bradycardia, is when his heart rate goes down. And so if he has a brady, then the alarms go off. And then if he stops breathing, or he's not breathing regularly enough or getting enough oxygen in his blood, that's called a desat, and then the alarms go off. And most times he'll have a brady and then right after a desat. And then it's like, then it's playing catch up with his breathing. So it's just very, very stressful listening to the alarms go off, and it's
watching your kid not breathe and having to just wait and not touch him to let him get out of it himself.
Try to resolve it on his own, which they're very pleased, because he's doing, even though he's having the brady's and he's having the desats, he's self-resolving most of them. And a lot of them we've noticed have been kind of happening during feedings or right after feedings. And so it could just be from like regurgitation, or he's too full, or we don't know all the reasons for it. They basically say that he should grow out of that phase where he's having so many brady's and desats around 35, 36 weeks, or 34, 35 weeks, I'm sorry. So this Sunday we are at 33 weeks. So we are praying that the good Lord would just increase his development so we don't have to go through this for much longer. It's very stressful. Some people have asked, like, how often do we get to hold him? Do we still get to hold him? We can hold him. This is how the NICU works. They have what they call care times. So at 9 a.m., 12 p.m., 3 p.m., 6 p.m., 9 p.m., and then through the night, so those same hours. We can basically touch him, have any sort of like stimulation. They don't want to stimulate him in between those hours. They want to leave him alone to like rest and recoup. And so they say if the parents want to hold them, please make sure you're there on care time, and then you can hold them. They want you to hold them for at least an hour, and then you can put them back. If we get to hold them, we always hold them for much longer. We even try and hold them until the next care time, so like 2 to 3 hours later, just so we're not disturbing him, and we're giving him as much skin to skin time as we can. So during these care times, we can change his diaper, check his temperature, and then the nurse does the other things like checks his heart, his digestion with the stethoscope, making sure all his stomach, bowels, everything sounds good. They do suctioning. That's one of the other things that kind of stinks, is that because he has that feeding tube in his mouth, he gets a lot of like
the oxygen causes it a lot too, the air.
He gets a lot of like saliva, but it's like really thick, and it just like kind of bubbles. I mean, babies don't breathe out of their mouth, so it's not bothering him unless it gets like a lot, and then he's just like like trying to get it out. So they'll always suction during the care times. Do they do anything else? So that's like the one time I feel like we feel like parents.
Yeah, changing his diaper. Like, we look forward to it.
Like, we're like, no, don't change his diaper.
Let us change the diaper.
Him.
It's weird. I never would want to before this, and I'm like, you need to let me change it. Don't change it.
Yeah, because we feel like parents, and we enjoy getting in there with him and doing hand containment, which means that we kind of put our hands on the top of his head and towards his feet, and we kind of just do a little bit of pressure, and it helps calm him down.
Or hold his hands together like at his chest.
Yeah.
That does it too.
Yeah. So we like those times, even though Dad has gotten pooped on a couple times.
Yeah.
Like projectile pooping.
Yeah. Like wipe his butt and then more shoots out.
Like a little tiny baby, you'd think wouldn't like crap that much, but even as of late, he's been super massive poops, and he like is getting stinky poops.
Yeah,
like he'll open up his incubator, and I'm like, son, you reek. Like his poop is stinking up his entire incubator. He's peed on me once. So we're getting all these initiation things that first time parents get. We just don't get to have him home yet.
Yeah,
it sucks. So we do that at care times. Oh, and so yes, we are holding him. The only time we can't hold him more than like once a day is if he's on the phototherapy lights, which means that his bilirubin, or what some of you guys would call jaundice, so if his levels are too high, and then he has to be on those phototherapy lights, and at that point we can only hold him once a day for an hour, just so they can make sure he's under those phototherapy lights, which he hasn't actually been on all week.
No.
But it's not abnormal for a preemie to go on and off of those phototherapy lights for a while. So what else? What are other questions that people are asking us?
Well, we don't know when he'll get out. That's the biggest question everyone wants to know. What's the time frame when he's going to leave? NICU people only realize it and learn it quickly that there is no time frame. They tell you around the original due date is a good guideline, but there's no guarantees. They have to pass certain protocols. It doesn't matter how much he weighs. He just needs to do what other babies do.
Oh, he needs to weigh at least like what a newborn baby weighs. Completely irrelevant. Like he could be 4.5 pounds and pass all the developmental milestones and come home.
Right.
It doesn't matter. He doesn't have to weigh like. I mean, of course they want him to probably weigh more than what he weighs now, because they want to make sure that
he's got to grow and eat.
Yeah, I mean, they want to make sure that he's gaining weight.
He's going to gain weight just by eating. I mean, that's just the fact of it.
Yeah, but like the weight isn't the biggest thing.
Right.
He has to have developmental milestones where he's breathing 100% on his own without any assistance. He needs to be able to like mouth feed, like being able to feed on his own and not have any assistance with feeding. Go
to the bathroom.
He has to be able to swallow on his own. Yeah, obviously go to the bathroom, which Truman hasn't had any issues doing. Yeah. There's like a car seat test that they have to do where he has to sit in a in a car seat for at least 90 minutes without like any Brady's or any issues. So there's a lot of things that we're going to be going through, and a lot of different milestones that we're going to be hitting along the way. So it seems very, very stressful that we are going to have to go through all this, and it seems like it's going to take forever, but we've heard that once he, gets to 34 weeks, things kind of start adjusting and changing. So we're hoping that that is definitely the case. For whatever reason, like the doctors are really stuck on trying to figure out why the heck he's growth restricted, like why he was a small baby. And they keep wanting to like find all these reasons for why he's smaller. And we're like, dude, it's because first of all, he didn't have enough fluid in the womb. Like, that's probably part of the problem. And we're thinking he probably had a placental issue. So
the placenta was small.
My placenta was pretty small. They did end up doing like a test on it, but they never even talked to us about it. And come to find out, like one of the doctors said before they released me from the hospital, like, don't expect like conclusive evidence from those tests. Like they're gonna tell you not really that much information. So I really don't know why they do it, but they do it for all babies that are less than 1,000 grams at birth weight. So we think that it was just a placental issue. He just wasn't getting all of the nutrients he needed, so it was best that he came out so that he could get the assistance that he needs to grow and develop.
Yep.
So they just want to try to find reasons and answers as to why he was small, and you know what? That's fine. We're gonna let them do their tests and try to figure it all out. But so far, every single test that he has taken has come back negative.
All of them.
They're looking for viruses and infections, and they just recently sent off for a chromosomal test, and we're not going to get that back for another couple weeks, but we're just expecting all negative for that. Like, our son is healthy, he's good, he just needs to
get bigger. He just needs to get bigger.
Yeah. So yes, like in pictures you see Truman and you're like, oh, he's actually pretty big, but pictures, I don't know what happens to pictures, it like blows him up or something.
Yeah, because he's not.
He's actually really tiny.
He's not.
If you look at some of the pictures, or you look at a picture of, I don't know if we posted it on Facebook, the one where we posted on Instagram, the one where Truman's hand is holding Derek's finger. That kind of gives you a little bit of perspective of like how tiny he actually is, because like, we can't hold his hand, he just holds our finger.
And he can't wrap his fingers, his whole hand around the finger. Like, he can't wrap it all the way around yet.
No, I guess not.
Yeah. He might be getting close now, but he really can't yet.
I hadn't really thought of that. So that's all that. He's actually graduated to the 3rd size of diaper. He started with one really freaking ridiculous diaper. Do we even have? I don't even know if you could tell on camera like how small it is.
Just hold this real fast.
Okay. So. And
just keep talking.
He started with the really super tiny diaper and then moved up to another one, and just like within this last like 5 days or something, they moved him to the actual like Preemie Pampers diaper, and it's freaking huge on him, but it fits around his stomach. The other one was just starting to fit in his little tush, but it's tight on his stomach, so they moved him to this one, and it's like gigantor on his butt, but it helps with his stomach.
I thought we had the other one in there too, but
I don't know.
Here's this one. So here it is.
Let's see, is it even? I'm trying to hold it up to my face, so it doesn't even cover it. It's like, that's to my chin, to my nose. This
was big on him at one point. Big. Here's my hand. Yeah, big. So.
This is kind of a heavy camera. Ouch.
So, quick updates, other questions people have?
I mean, that was the biggest one. People want to know when he's going to be released. We don't 100% know. My due date was July 16th, so we can measure at that. Sometimes they say it's a couple weeks before, it could be a couple weeks after. We don't expect or suspect that there's going to be any major issue that would make him need to stay later. Oh, they for the first 3 days of his life, they had to keep him midline because of potential brain bleeds, and that was another reason why we had to wait to hold him, because he needed to be positioned like on his back, midline, couldn't like turn him to the side or whatever. They did a brain scan on him.
Perfect.
Came back perfect, no brain bleeds. They probably won't do another brain scan until like 36 weeks, just to ensure that through development that nothing happened, which nothing will. And then they just recently, because they're searching more into more and more things, they did an echo on his heart yesterday. Came back 100% awesome. They've done many chest x-rays for his lungs. They continue to have to do those just when they adjust oxygen and all that. Every time they're like, things look fine, things look, things look great. We can even increase pressure if we need to. What else?
He's 2 pounds 9 ounces.
Oh yes, the weight. Yeah, so he was obviously 2 pounds 2 ounces when he was born. Then he lost weight, which is normal for any baby. I think the lowest he got down to was 1 pound 13 ounces. And then he's quickly started gaining. He was actually back at his birth weight
under 2 weeks. Under 2 weeks.
Within the week, I thought.
I think it was for sure within 7 days, 7 to 10 days.
Within the week of his birth, he was back up to his birth weight. Now he's over 2.5 pounds, so 2 pounds 9 ounces. We really were thinking he was going to be 2 pounds 10 ounces tonight, but he didn't. He probably just pooped it out.
He probably did. That's it.
How many times could I say
I think that's it. This is a really long update.
Well, we waited like basically almost 3 weeks to give you guys
We'll try to do faster ones next time, but
that's our fault. But
things change rapidly there, and milestones they just happen. And you don't really plan for them, and the doctor just says, let's do this today. And we're like, okay, great, that's awesome.
Alrighty then. And that's why they say, a lot of people say, yeah, just one day you'll come in and they'll be like, oh, you can go home.
Yeah.
These things just change so much like that,
right.
and the babies are in control. Truman is in control of this whole process. He's been in control of this the entire time.
Yeah.
The entire time I was in the antepartum hall, waiting and resting in bed rest, he was in control. He was in control when he wanted to come out, and he's going to be in control as far as how fast he's going to develop and when he gets out of the NICU.
Yep.
And we appreciate everybody's concern and care for how he's been doing. As far as me, I was discharged within 1, 2, 3, 4,
5, the fifth
day after I had him. And that was because obviously I had an emergency C-section, and that sucked. I really don't ever want to have to go through that again. The pain is real. And but by the time I was discharged, I was up like basically walking on my own. When we go to the hospital, I would make Derek put me in the wheelchair and roll me. Like I wouldn't be able to walk that far. And a lot of it probably had to do with the fact that I was on bed rest.
It's the bed rest
so
because
long.
We've seen some other ladies in there, and they're like walking in there. They're coming in there like walking, and they had their kid like 2 or 3 days prior.
Well, you don't know if they had a C-section, honey.
Well, probably. Some of them. Probably for sure.
I don't know about that. Because, I mean, the long distance walking was like cardio. I was just like freaking exhausted. But as far as like the pain and everything, there's no way that people were like feeling way better after 2 or 3 days. I wasn't even walking at 2 or 3 days. I was like trying to stand up on my own, like hovering over, like grabbing my incision, trying to walk to the bathroom. But I'm way better. Like I didn't take any pain pills or anything after I was discharged.
Right.
Recovery looked great. I went to my like follow-up incision appointment or surgery follow-up, whatever,
good.
the week after, and everything looked great. So I'm doing fine physically, emotionally, not good a lot of times. But the Lord's sustaining us too, and we're gonna get through this. We are persevering, and we just can't wait until he comes home.
Yeah.
We can't wait till he comes home.
Yeah.
This hospital life I'm tired of this hospital life. We probably won't know what to do though, like when we're not at the hospital.
Yeah. Like, can someone come take our kid? He won't stop crying. But we look forward to that.
Yeah.
We'll be thankful for it in the beginning.
But hopefully, I mean, we had like everybody's questions that they had written down and everything. Obviously, this was spur of the moment. Actually got me to talk. He's probably shocked how much I'm talking.
Yes. A little bit like, you should stop now.
Okay. I'm starving anyways. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I'm
so
hungry
we're gonna
all
eat.
the time.
We appreciate you guys watching this, and we appreciate all the support and the love. And it had taken so long to get this put together. We tried almost a week ago to do it, and just emotionally, it was just too hard. And there's still a lot of that to play, but we're able to get this out, and hopefully our future updates will be much shorter, and we can just kind of give you guys a little bit.
We always say that,
previews.
like every time our updates are long.
Yeah.
We're like, next time it won't be as long. Yeah,
But we're gonna try a different format for how we do this, and maybe just give you snippets of over a few periods of days, and just put the clips together. So make it a little more easy. So, but we love you guys. We really appreciate all the support, the prayers. Truman is a miracle.
Yeah.
He is. He should not have developed lungs.
According to
the science says shouldn't happen, and he's shocking everyone. So it's really great.
Yeah.
All the glory to God. We're very thankful.
We just keep telling him to astound the doctors and shock them with his development, and that he's defeating all the odds, and that it doesn't matter what they say, that he's just going to continue to grow and develop supernaturally fast, and we just declare that over him every day. Yep.
We tell him who he is and how he and what he does, and it's really working. So, all right, guys. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thanks for following us.
Bye.
See ya.